Welcome to the show, and joining me in the kitchen in their rather fabulous festive outfits are two amazing chefs. We've got Spice Supremo Vivek Singh and the king of seafood Rick Stein. And in charge of Christmas spirits, it's the brilliant Susie Barrie. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good.
Looking very perky and festive. You feeling it?
Yes, very festive. As soon as you get these on.
All the Christmas shopping's done. We're ready for this. Rick, what are you cooking for us today?
Well, a bit festive. It's a seafood stew, Italian seafood stew called cioppino, but it's got the colours of red and green in it, sort of Christmassy.
A little bit of chilli, a little bit of warmth.
Yeah, a
going
bit
on
of
in
chilli
there.
too, from San Francisco, in fact.
Ah, on your recent travels,
Yes,
no doubt. We will talk about that later. So, Vivek, what are you making for us today?
Right, I'm doing a spiced roast breast of goose.
Ooh.
It's a rather attractive sort of centerpiece. And I'm doing it with curry leaf and mustard tempered curry potatoes and a Carolyn Mapas sauce.
Oh.
So a little bit of pepper, a bit of fennel, a bit of chili, a bit of vinegar and coconut milk. So hot,
Really
sweet and sharp.
colourful, really fragrant, really colourful, really everything. Wonderful. Is that very Christmassy for you, something like
It is very, very Christmassy in Kerala.
Oh, beautiful. Susie, what have you found us to go
I know, there's a bit of a challenge there for me, isn't there? No, we've got wines, we've got beautiful wines from all over the world. Some France, some Italy, and something that definitely will go with your spice.
Really?
Delighted.
I can't wait to try all of that. I'm hoping, of course, also that you've got some non-alcoholic
We've got some
options for
non-alcoholic
us.
suggestions as well. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Look forward to all of it. That's for the drivers and the non-drinkers, of course. Now, we have dug deep into the BBC archives for some festive shows from Rick Stein, you're everywhere, aren't you? Nigel Slater, the Hairy Bikers, and, of course, Mary Berry. Our special guest is a much-loved actor whose soap and sitcom roles have made her a household name. From EastEnders to Goodness Gracious Me and still open all hours, she's a shining star indeed. It's the brilliant Nina Wadia. Hi, Nina. How are you?
I'm really good. I made this peppermint tea earlier with a teaspoon of honey.
Oh, for yourself?
Just for myself.
Is that one of your Christmas recipes?
It's a recipe.
It's a recipe. So it's a busy time of year for you?
Yes, yeah, crazy time of year. This is, you know...
Still Open All Hours is out again on Boxing Day. It's so successful, that
It's
show.
crazy. This is our 4th series and probably a 5th coming up next year. It's crazy.
Amazing. But really, today is all about the food.
Yes.
You're here to eat lots of things from these beautiful chefs, but also we're going to be deciding whether you're going to get food heaven or food hell.
Yes.
And tell me a bit about what is heaven for you. What's the best thing you can think of?
My favourite thing, but I tend to kind of have it very, very rarely these days, is tiramisu. It is my absolute favourite dessert in the whole world. And something I've discovered recently, because I've always been like a milk chocolate girl. I love chocolate anyway. Yeah. But dark chocolate, all of a sudden, in the last 3 years...
It's a palate thing, that, right? As you get older for you.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, thank you.
Well, that's how it's worked out for me, for sure.
No, definitely,
sure.
definitely.
And what about, what's hell? What's the worst thing you can think of?
3 things. 2 of them are vegetables, because I was forced to eat them as a child, and I can't bear them. One is this very slimy okra.
Oh, I love okra.
No, it's
delicious. The slime, it's all about the slime.
No, it is all about slime.
I love it.
The other is, of course, aubergine, my nemesis, which is why I created a character who hates aubergine.
Of course.
In fact, actually, she loves aubergines, but makes everyone else eat them. And then the other thing is something I don't even like to say, pork belly.
Pork belly, literally one of my favourite things in the world.
Oh my gosh, no.
We're living at opposite ends of the earth.
We are,
We're living at opposite ends. So, if you get heaven, I will be making you a lovely tiramisu cheesecake with dark chocolate truffles.
Amazing.
I will make a chocolate biscuit base and top it with a cheesecake of custard and mascarpone, sponge fingers, espresso and spiced rum, and finish it all off with some more rum, which we're going to infuse into the dark chocolate truffles. Absolutely delicious. But if Nina gets hell, I'll be making okra and aubergine caponata with char-grilled pork belly. I really enjoyed coming up with this. I will soften the okra and aubergine in butter with capers, garlic, tomatoes and wine, and then I'll finish it with fresh basil, parsley and olive oil. I'll serve this with some caramelised fennel-seasoned pork belly and some deep-fried okra. That's double okra, just for you.
Yay.
Just for you. You can thank me later. But as we're not live today, there's no online vote, so what Nina gets is in the hands of fate, so stay tuned to find out how. Right, let's get cooking, shall we? Vivek,
Right.
what are we making today?
Right, so I'm doing a spiced roasted breast of goose with a Carolyn Mapas, a coconut and vinegar sauce.
That's what a mapas is. It's the name of the
mapas,
sauce,
a
is it?
Carolyn,
Okay.
yeah. Right,
So
and we'll also do a curry leaf and mustard seed tempered stir-fried potatoes.
Shall I get on with that?
Yeah, you can get on with that. The potatoes have been boiled in the skin and they've been kind
Cut
of
in half
peeled and
already.
cut into half. So that's yours. Okay, so I've got these cinnamon and the bay
Marvellous.
leaf in there first, right?
So you're going to start with,
And so the bigger spices in first, and the fennel and the pepper in later. The ground spices I don't worry too much about. So give it a
got
nice
some
little
good
pot.
pestle action going there,
It's
Vivek,
really
haven't you?
good, isn't it?
So I'm going to put these whole spices in first. Now tell us a little bit about your new book, Feast. It's absolutely stunning.
The last book that I wrote was on Indian festival feasts. And I mean, the idea just came about every time I talk about dishes and recipes, I'll talk about memories from how I remember things from the past. It would often come around a feasting table, and I'd think back, and I thought every time it was something to do with either a festival, it was,
Or
if it
a
was
feast.
Holi or a Diwali or whatever, it was the manifestation, or a wedding. The manifestation of it all was always a feast. That's where most of the best memories came from.
So it just seemed like a natural thing for you to do.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
I mean,
And so it
I'm
was a-
really interested, actually, because in Indian culture, it's like Spain. You just, every 5 minutes, there's another festival or a party. Do you know what I mean? It's a fabulous way to approach life, I think.
Any excuse, isn't it? Any excuse for a party.
So what's the big one for you? Is there one in particular?
Well, there are quite a few. And one is difficult. If you ask me for a dozen, I'd probably get close to it. But, so, the biggest ones that most people know of are sort of Holi and Diwali, the festival of color in the spring and festival of lights in the autumn. But then we celebrate Christmas and Easter with as much gusto as anybody else, really.
Except you work right the way through.
So Christianity is it's a very small population in relative terms in India. It's only 2.5, less than 3% of the population which is Christian who would celebrate Christmas. But really, I mean, that is about 30 million people. That's half the country here. That's a lot of people.
Yes, a lot of people. Rick, you've been
And
to
then
India. You did a whole show, didn't you?
I did, and I'm particularly interested in this dish simply because it's genuine Christmas spicy food, and that is... Yeah, people are always asking for different things for
Something different,
turkey, and this is it.
This is beautiful.
Straight
Is
from
this
Kerala.
the kind of thing you would make in your house at Christmas, Vivek?
I will. This is what I do if I do it with giri fowl, if I do it with goose. I mean, this is the kind of thing that I would cook. And in fact, better still, if I was using the whole bird, I'll roast it, do whatever I need to do. And then, at the very end, so whatever's left over, I just rip it apart and use it the next morning.
I love the leftovers, don't you? Leftovers
Yeah,
are
but
the
what's he
best
going to
bit.
do with it?
Everything that is left over from the roast or from the legs and whatever else you've got, I just rip it all up, pull it all apart, and then coat it again in the same sauce that I'm making. So this sauce here, the mapas sauce I was referring to earlier.
Yeah.
So it's onions, curry leaves, ginger, and green chilies. They've all gone in. Right, I'm going to soften the onions and all that, and then I've got
Vivek,
coriander.
does it matter what chilies you use?
I like to use finger chilies, so they're hotter.
The smaller ones are the hotter ones,
The
right? And do you
smaller the
leave all
chili, the hotter it
seeds
is
in?
usually. But not necessarily bird's eye or incredibly hot.
Do you leave the seeds in, Vivek?
I leave the
or are
seeds
you,
in, exactly. What's the point of
No,
taking the seeds? That's where the heat
you told me
is.
something quite interesting yesterday, actually, about
Yeah.
garam masala that I didn't know. Is so when you'll use, because you use a lot of spices, and people
Yeah.
find it hard to balance spices. They find it a little bit intimidating. They're not sure what should happen when.
You're right,
For you,
yeah.
garam masala is something that happens at the end of the dish.
Oh, garam masala essentially means a hot aromatic mixed spice. And that mixed spice could
You
be
happy for
any...
the potatoes to go in here now?
Yes, you could, yeah. You've got some seasoning in there, sea
Yeah,
salt.
yeah.
Okay. So a hot aromatic sort of mix of spices. And aromatic spices being hot, I end up using them as a seasoning spice, as a finishing spice at the very end. So the general rule would be, if you're using whole spices,
Yeah.
use them at the beginning of the cooking. So you'd always heat up your oil, add your whole spices, the flavors permeate into the whole dish that way, and you can cook with it for a long time. Don't lose any of the goodness.
And so how busy are you? I mean, you're open, all the restaurants are open right through Christmas.
Right.
Absolutely. I'm tired thinking about it. You're working on Christmas Day, right?
I do every year.
Every year. How busy is it in the restaurant for you then? Look at that. That's amazing.
It looks really good, doesn't it?
Ooh.
Good.
It's making me sing. That's always good. If I start going like that, you know
Right.
it's a good thing.
So
is it your busiest service?
Oh, it's the busiest service of the year. We'd serve over
Amazing.
400 people just at the club. We're open in Cinnamon Soho, in Cinnamon Bazaar, everywhere, even in Oxford.
Even in Oxford, it's busy.
We're open. This is the newest place I've opened.
So now, to the new year, what's happening for you? You've got Battersea Power Station happening, I think.
Right, I'm doing another cinnamon kitchen in the Battersea Power Station.
Beautiful building.
Honestly, I am a bit of a sucker for great, iconic locations. So the old Westminster Library is where I started off with the Cinnamon Club.
Yeah.
And the Battersea Power Station opportunity came up, and I thought that was just this one that, you know...
Beautiful site, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I've got a bit of the vinegar going in.
Yeah, that's what's happening here, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a quick recap. So your goose is rendered, you've turned it over, and here you've got all of those beautiful spices.
Yeah.
What's that going in there now?
A bit of the coriander, a bit of the vinegar,
Yeah.
all gone in. A little bit of the stock.
What does the vinegar give you in that dish?
That's the sharpness.
Little acidity.
The acidity and the sharpness. It's not just a one-dimensional sort of, you know, richness of the, or sweetness from the coconut milk. You've got all of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Look.
So,
I think your potatoes look great.
you ready for... Are these ready?
Yeah.
Brilliant. When do you get to break, Vivek?
I'll take a bit of a break
You must
at the
stop
end of
at some
Christmas.
point. Ah.
The first couple of weeks, as Rick would know in the restaurant trade, is never the busiest time, but that's what
January, yeah, it's pretty quiet. So what does Christmas Day look like for the rest of your family then? You're obviously at work. You're gone.
Yeah, and so I start the day off with the kids, and then I'll go to all the restaurants, and one of the places the children will join me towards the end of the service. We'll kind of have a Christmas lunch. The main event for us is Boxing Day, actually. That's the one.
Ah, so what happens on Boxing Day then?
We do what everybody else does on Christmas Day.
Oh, I see. You do the whole thing. And what do you make? Goose? You make turkey?
Yeah, I'd make goose. I'd make, well, not really turkey. I'd kind of either do goose or a large capon.
Are you not a fan
like
of
that.
turkey?
No.
Well, look at the colour on those. It's so
I
vivid. It's
know.
wonderful.
Is this what you will serve then in your restaurants at Christmas then, Vivek?
One of the restaurants.
What are people
It will be
really...
on.
What are the main things that people are eating then and ordering? What are your main big sellers at Christmas?
Oh, you know, I'll tell you what. All our restaurant menus have several choices.
Yeah.
So it's about, you know, half a dozen choices on each of the courses. People will pick. I mean, there's lamb, there's prawns. There'll be all sorts of things, and people will pick.
Sounds
and I
great,
suppose one of the things that will make make it special, of course, for people is A, not having to cook or clean up.
Yeah.
But B, then having choice.
Do you guys go out for Christmas dinner, for Christmas lunch?
No,
Never.
we don't.
Never.
No.
I'm sort of scared of not having leftovers. You know what? I like the leftovers are really important part of
When I
it.
started doing this sort of, 10, 11 years ago,
Yeah.
we thought nobody in
was
this
gonna come.
nobody was going to come. It's not the kind of thing that you do. You aren't going to get out of house and not sort of cook.
But clearly you were wrong.
But I tell you,
Right, so that's a beautiful sauce. We're ready now with that. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
if you could just take that out.
All right, we're going to move this for you. Lovely.
Is this
Get
what we
that
sorted
plate
in?
Yeah, let's get it in there, my darling. Fabulous. Looking forward to this, guys?
Very much.
Smells
Smell it, doesn't it?
gorgeous.
Actually dribbling a little bit there. Wonderful. Oh, look how beautiful. This goose looks amazing. It's such a lovely meat. People are a bit scared of goose, I think, but they really shouldn't be. I mean, look at that. How wonderful
there's
is
no
that?
reason to be, actually.
You've never had goose?
No. I've had duck, but never had goose.
Oh, we love a first. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
And I've
Okay.
never had... No.
Wonderful, Vivek. So just tell us what that is one more time, please.
So here we've got a spice roasted breast of goose with a Carolan mapas, a coconut and vinegar sauce, some stir-fried potatoes in mustard seasoned curry leaf. This is your Carolan Christmas without even having to buy a ticket.
Without even having to leave home. Perfect, beautiful. Thank you, Vivek. How exciting. Let's get this over here. I know you guys are dying to get tucked into this, aren't you? Look how beautiful that looks.
thank you so much.
Oh, you're very, very welcome.
The great
We've
thing
got a
about
little spoon here for the sauce.
All right.
the great thing about a goose breast is you get a lot more than a duck breast.
Yes. Should we put a little sauce on it, Vivek?
Yeah,
Look at that. Let's see what you think about that, Nina. It looks gorgeous. And it's your first time
First
having
time
goose. That's
goose. There we
exciting.
go.
Bated breath.
Fabulous.
Oh, my word.
Delicious.
That's unbelievable.
Yes, but it's a beautiful recipe, and the colours of it are wonderful. What do you think about that, Rick?
I I'm always in the films. I've always got my mouth full, and people say, "Do you have to speak with your mouth full?" Well, I do actually. Otherwise, you've got to wait. But it's absolutely delicious. I mean, it's very mild spicing and lovely pink cooked goose. I love goose.
It's interesting. There's so many spices, and yet it's still subtle. That's brilliant, isn't it? And Susie, what have you got for us?
I can't speak.
You're having a little party, a little goose party.
It's such a big mouthful. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Wonderful.
So what I've got,
is
I've got the most beautiful red wine from Sicily, and it's made in the Appassimento style. It's a Nero Oro. There we are for Vivek. And it's a Nero d'Avola. Black gold. So the idea is that the grape is the black, the Nero d'Avola, and then it's just so beautiful. It's gold. Sort of they think of it as their golden grape, if you like. It's the sort of the indigenous main grape variety in Sicily. So the Appassimento style, what happens is the grapes are partially dried before they're fermented, so you get that concentration of sugars, and it means that you get a raisiny, slightly, just a tiny little bit of sweetness.
You can sort of smell that. You can sort of smell that.
It is, and
you get the raisin coming through,
which is lovely. And you know, the goose cried out for a red, but at the same time, you don't want anything dry or tannic. And with that spice, that little bit of sweetness is
that's
beautiful.
Beautiful. That's a really lovely.
This just makes me want to have some more goose.
You are our guest, of course. And Rick, remind us what you're going to be cooking for us later.
Oh, well, I'm going to do this ciappina, which is a seafood stew with prawns, with mussels, and with some cod in it. And it's a bit spicy, but it comes from San Francisco. And actually, it's an Italian dish.
So a bit things from all over the place, actually, a little bit.
Absolutely.
A lot of cooking's like that these days, though, isn't it? We take all the best from everywhere and sort of make something wonderful with it. Now, I think a lot of people get fed up with some of the usual Christmas food, so I wanted to show you something that's a little bit different from my family. It is my citrus jerk chicken recipe with waffles.
What?
Because we love a savoury waffle. Are you familiar with savoury waffles?
No.
You never had chicken and waffles, Rick, all your time in America?
Waffle, yes.
I have been making chicken and waffles for years now, actually. I mean, I think when I first, at Christmas, any time of year, actually, it's a great one with the kids. You really have a sort of fear of bland food, don't you?
Yes, huge fear of bland food.
Terror of the bland. Well, this one should sort you right out, actually.
Fantastic. You know, I carry a tiny little Tabasco bottle in my handbag.
Do you?
Absolutely. You know, I heard about that. I heard about you and your hot sauce.
It works really well as defence against attack as well.
So you can just chuck it generally out.
There you go, yes.
So, Nina, still open all hours.
Yes.
Amazing show, amazing success. I mean, it came out, this is your fourth series, right?
Fourth series, yes.
And it came out at Boxing Day.
That's right, it was a one-off special for Boxing Day. And next thing we know, it got so many hits because, of course, it has the iconic Sir David Jason, and, of course, people remember Ronnie Barker very fondly.
Of course.
And, of course, all the gorgeous women in it. And that was it. They just said, right, we're commissioning a series, and before we know it, it's like one of the most popular shows on Boxing Day.
It's good, though.
So,
how many viewers did it get on that first massive run?
I don't actually know the exact number, but I know it was above 8 million.
I have the number,
crazy.
Funnily enough, Nina. It's 12.2 million.
No way!
Yeah.
12.2.
You smashed it, I believe they say.
Fantastic news.
Open All Hours itself was an iconic show.
Yes.
So was it a little intimidating to sort of try to recreate that and move it forward? Did you find that
this happened about 4 or 5 years ago. They decided to bring back a lot of sort of sitcoms that were very loved. Yeah. And I think some succeeded, some not so much.
Yes.
And then this one actually really took off. And because of the writer, to be honest, I think Roy Clark is such an amazing... It's the original writer. And what he did was he actually made David Jason's character kind of graduate to be a bit more like Arkwright. And I think that actually really, really made it work.
And who are you playing? Tell us a little bit about your lovely character.
So I play this very gossipy, interfering, not like me at all, woman.
How rude. How rude. How odd for them to cast you.
The lovely woman called Mrs. Hussein. She's very quirky, very odd, and that's why I like her. I love playing characters that are slightly not quite right.
Yeah.
I always find them a lot more interesting.
Slightly left of centre.
Yes, yeah. Those are the most interesting people to watch, aren't they? So,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and Roy sort of wrote her in after the one-off special, so I was very, very flattered. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And did you... I mean, all your characters... Something I've noticed with you, actually, is that your characters are quite warm. There's a sort of certain appeal to the women that you play, Nina.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I try and make them all-rounded. I mean, even my character on EastEnders, Zainab, my goodness, when they came to me and they said, can you do Pauline Fowler but funny? I thought, how on earth am I going to do that? She was a grumpy old, piece of work. So, but my husband said, just be yourself, which didn't help matters. But I thought, all right, fine, I'll come up with something. And with her, I thought it'd be great if she was blunt. So it was this really grumpy woman, but blunt. And she seemed to work. But the thing I've found just generally with characters is nobody's either very lovely or very unpleasant.
Right.
Everyone has a mix of something, in who they are. And that's why there's always a little bit of warmth so people feel empathetic towards the character.
Sorry to interrupt, but what's happening in your chicken?
So there's so much going on in here. So much going on here. We've got chicken, we've got cumin, we've got paprika, we've got coriander, we've got mustard, we've got thyme, we've got Scotch bonnet, we've got rum, and we've got 3 different types of citrus. We've got lime, we've got orange, and we've got lemon. Because I just think it gives it a sort of... Because I find often that jerk chicken can be a bit muddy. It sort of gets a little sort of down in the dark in this. So we put the citrus to give a bit of brightness to the dish, basically.
Amazing.
And bring it back up. Right, so here's one we've got marinated. Okay. Now tell us a little bit about what's going to be going on Still Open All Hours this Christmas. And what's obviously without giving too much away.
Yes. No, well, it's just hilarity, and it's old-fashioned kind of warm humour that everyone from a 4-year-old to a 95-year-old can watch together. And that's rare these days on TV, to have a show that everyone feels comfortable watching and is actually genuinely funny.
And that's on this Boxing Day?
That's on this Boxing Day, and then it goes on for the next 7 episodes.
And what channel is it on?
BBC One, of course.
Right, so this chicken is going to go into the oven now.
Yeah.
We've got everything on there. The rum is a really nice little addition to it as well. Rum is often a really nice addition to cooking.
Yes.
Right, so we're going to just
the bottle in that.
slip that in there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull the other one out. Those waffles are coming along nicely.
Fantastic.
Now tell me a little bit about you and your food story.
Right, which one?
Well, I mean, because you grew up, so you were in India and then you went to Hong Kong.
That's right, yes, yeah.
And is this where your fear of okra and aubergine? When did that actually happen?
That was when I was still in India.
Right.
My mum was obsessed with getting my dad to eat the one vegetable he wouldn't eat, which was aubergine. And so she tried to make it in several different guises. So that's why I created this mad aubergine character in Goodness Gracious Me, who insisted that everyone has to have everything in their life with a small aubergine. She was not happy about that. So we did that. And then when we moved to Hong Kong, my parents ran a restaurant called the Ashoka in Hong Kong. So I ended up working in a restaurant from a very, very young age. So I know how hard restaurant life is, and I appreciate any hard work that goes into it, because I don't think people get how difficult it is.
Can you tell me a bit about Parsi cooking? I'm really interested in that.
Well, I'm a Parsi, I'm a Zoroastrian, and Parsi cooking for me, it's a blend of Persian and Indian. It's kind of, that's literally what it is. And I loved it. I'll be honest, when I was younger, I did not love to cook at all. In fact, I quite despise it. And it was my mum, when I finally met the person I'm now married to, said, if you want this marriage to last more than 6 months,
you're gonna have to
better learn how to cook. And she was right, because he eats a lot.
So what's your... And do you cook with your kids and stuff
Yes, I do, yeah. That's one thing that I absolutely love to do. I know that it's strange. It's a strange thing with kids. I know it's like a psychology with kids. If they cook with you, they'll eat the end product because they put the effort into it.
Well, it connects them to the food, doesn't it? That's why it's kind of important, I think, for kids to cook. And what does Christmas look like around your house, then?
Absolute chaos.
Is there quite a lot of you?
There's a few of us. In fact, this year we're staying home. Normally we go to Canada because my husband's Canadian, so we go back to his family, and I end up cooking there as well. But over here, this year, my son's doing his 11+ exams, which are a nightmare. So we thought we'll stay back here, and I'll just do everything this end. But I might steal your goose recipe, to be honest, or something different. Definitely. But yeah, looking forward to...
Wonderful. Right.
Christmas.
I'm plating up your food here now, my darling.
Wow. Again, all for me.
So we've got 2 cornmeal waffles.
Wow.
We've got the orange and ginger chicken. I think I can fit it all on this plate. It's a little tight, but I think we can do it. I've made a little bit of gravy because, you know, in my house, you have to have gravy.
Yes.
You can't, you know, even if you're going to... Because I've also made, on the side, we've got a lovely syrup that we've made with honey, chilli, more orange, more ginger, and some more Scotch bonnet, actually. So the gravy is going to give us... And I love it. You see, when you pour the gravy on, it sits in the little pockets in the waffles. Makes me very happy, that. Right.
That's just a small portion.
And this is just for you to have a little tuck in.
See, I'm upset. There's 5 of us and there's only 4 pieces. Getting quick.
This is an enormous plate of food.
Good
Give me
Lord.
1 second. I'm going to put this... I think some other people in the room are going to have a little bit of this.
Definitely.
You know, the crew have all got forks in their back pocket. You do realise that, right?
Yeah, tell me,
Right.
get it.
And here is your chilli honey syrup.
That looks incredible.
Is my citrus jerk chicken and cornmeal waffles with a chilli spice syrup. But I've got one more little present for you, actually.
Right.
Because of your Tabasco, I bought you some of my homemade hot sauce.
No way.
This is really hot.
Okay.
I warn everybody. People always go, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, no, really. It's actually really, really hot. So it's got yellow bullet chilies and Scotch bonnet and turmeric and roast garlic and all sorts of things.
Wow.
So I thought you'd quite like that.
All right.
There
Sounds
you go,
good.
my darling.
Thank you.
You get stuck into that now.
All right.
What will I be making for Nina at the end of the show? Will it be her food heaven, tiramisu? Yes, I'll make a scrumptious tiramisu cheesecake with dark chocolate truffles. I'll make a chocolate biscuit base and top it with a cheesecake of custard and mascarpone, sponge fingers, espresso, spiced rum, and finish it all off with some rum-infused dark chocolate truffles. How's that? Is that working for you?
I feel so sorry for you.
If Nina gets hell, I'll be making okra and aubergine caponata with char-grilled pork belly. Say it again, say it for me, pork belly. I will soften the okra and aubergine in butter with capers, garlic, tomatoes and wine and finish it with some fresh basil, parsley and olive oil. We'll serve this with some caramelised fennel-seasoned pork belly and some deep-fried okra, double okra. Never forget, we're not live today, so there's no viewer vote. But you'll find out what she gets and how she gets it at the end of the show. How is that?
That was unbelievable.
Is it delicious?
Unbelievable.
Marvellous, that's what we like.
Yes.
Oh, have you tried the hot sauce?
No, I've got to.
You've got to get some of that into you. Yeah, try
I'll be
that.
very careful, Singh.
Yeah, be careful.
Give me a warning. There we go.
I mean, I'm quite pathetic. I think everything's really hot, but this is definitely hot.
Okay, here we go.
Have a little try.
Right.
There you go. Quite warm.
Go and feel my face.
Happy Christmas, my darling. This time of year, there's always a lot to do in the kitchen. Those Christmas cakes won't ice themselves, you know. Later on, we're giving our chefs a very special Saturday Kitchen Christmas Cake Challenge. That's more easy to say. I can't wait to see who decorates the most impressive Christmas cake, but never fear, we've still got all of our puns. This week, inspired by all things festive. And they are far and away in a manger, the worst ones yet. There's no rest for ye, merry gentlemen. Will your cakes be shining stars or a pair of turkeys? Will they...
I'm leaving.
Don't boo me. Will they get a frosty reception? I hope it won't end in a ding-dong. You'll have to keep watching to find out. Now, let's get on with the snow. So, just terrible. So will Nina get her food heaven?
Yes.
Which, yes, you can keep saying yes, it doesn't make it true. That will be a tiramisu cheesecake with dark chocolate truffles, or her food hell, okra and aubergine caponata with char-grilled pork belly. Find out later in the show. Right, let's get cooking, shall we, Rick? What's next?
Well, Andy, it's called a ciappino. It's a Italian origin. Some say Liguria, some say Sicily. But I got it from San Francisco, where it's the signature dish of a restaurant called the Tadich Grill, which is the oldest restaurant in San Francisco.
Your recent trip, through San Francisco, California, down to Mexico, it's just a dream.
Oh, you're nice.
It's a wonderful show. You're brilliant on it. You just look like you're having the best time ever.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't be having the best time ever?
What's it called, the show, actually?
It's called My Road to Mexico, and it starts in California, in San Francisco, and ends up in Tulum in southern Mexico.
And it's on BBC Two.
Yeah, but it was actually a journey I made in the 60s, in 1968, from San Francisco to Mexico. So in a way, and that was like nearly 50 years ago, I'm getting too old, Andy. But it's a journey I made, and part of it was a sort of return to the places that were quite formative
I'm
to me.
going to pass these over to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
What else can I do for
Well, I
you?
tell you, this dish is a seafood stew, but it has grilled bread in it,
Right.
sourdough bread. rub with garlic and olive oil.
Right,
if you
so
can
let's
just
get some of
slice
that
this
on,
a
shall we?
bit.
There's another bit of celery for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
So
Sling
I've been watching avidly the show. It's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
There's some real highlights. Some of the places you visit are just amazing. What's inspiring about a journey like that for you?
Well, I mean, apart from sort of going back over times when I was very young and seeing how it's changed, it's just the food. I mean, I just love the food of Mexico, and I fell in love with the food of Mexico when I was there as a 21-year-old, simply because it was so exotic. It's funny when I was watching you making that jerk chicken, and you've got the cornmeal waffles.
Yeah.
Well, Mexican's very similar, very citrusy food, lots of coriander, and everything that you eat in Mexico is with corn pancakes, with tortillas. So it's sort of like very similar. And it's also that sort of mixture of well-cooked meat generally and the lovely flavours of sort of lime generally, lime, coriander, avocado.
Oh, beautiful.
And seriously, when I was, you know, really, really young like that, it was the first time I'd ever tasted anything truly exotic.
Well, they new flavours for you.
Yes, I mean, you know, I was used to Indian and Chinese in England, in Britain, but nothing like that. And I think I often say tasting Mexican food for the first time, proper Mexican, as opposed to Tex-Mex, which is a bit different.
I think we're not really sure what Mexican food is here. I mean, we don't burritos, tacos, but we don't really know we don't have it here.
Well, I mean, not really, no, and it's a lot fresher and a lot lighter than the Tex-Mex food. But actually, this dish, I mean, it's part of my journey, but it's from California. And what's interesting, it's very Italian, but I think this particular sauce is also very American, because I can't imagine the Italians putting green peppers, celery, a good hit of chili in there as well.
Dry chili flakes.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I was interested actually to see on your series. You seem to know. You've been to India. You've been all over the place.
Yeah.
You seem to be very clear about what chilies do what.
Well, certainly,
you want.
I think it's but true both India and Mexico. That the Indians have very specific uses for chilies.
Yeah.
And same with the Mexicans. So. And also, what's great in Mexico and in India, but probably more so in Mexico, is dried chilies. Right. And they dry them in such a way, and they use particular chilies that give a lovely fruity, chocolate fruitiness to a lot of sauces.
Fragrance.
Fragrance. And I suppose the one we know best in this country is chipotle. You know, because they smoke that as well. So where would a barbecue sauce be without smoked chipotle? Yeah. So, but what I'm doing here, I've just got that cooking away. My sauce there, and I'm just going to make a little thing called a gastrique, which is a bit of a tip.
Yeah, give us a tip. We like tips, especially from you, sir.
If you're making a tomato sauce, and essentially this is like a sort of, a tomato-based sauce, if you just put a bit of sugar and a bit of vinegar and boil that down a bit, all right, it just gives this really elusive sweetness to it. So
this is a French thing, then?
Yeah, it is.
So we're going all over the globe.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, I think that it's something you sort of learn when you travel, that you can take ideas from one culture and put them into another. And I've most noticed that. Funnily enough, this is a bit of oregano going on in here, which is very Italian and Mexican.
And Mexican. Or oregano, even.
Oregano.
So... When you went back on this journey after 50-odd years, you said, did you notice any changes in the way people eat?
Well, not particularly, because I certainly noticed the way people eat in California. They're very health conscious. And you don't get... I thought I was going to be really snooty about it, you know, and say, oh, they're all got like allergies and all this. But, you know, people have got allergies, and the Californians really look after them well.
That was a big change.
Big change. And they're really into healthy eating, really into... There's a very famous vegan restaurant we went to, which actually, you know, could almost get up there with the Indian vegan restaurants. It was so sort of inventive in flavour.
Now, the other place that looked amazing, have you guys seen the series? It's a beautiful series. If you haven't watched it, I really just get it on the iPlayer and watch it. There's an amazing La Cocina Doña Estela. Apparently the best breakfast in the world. Tell me about that.
I will. That tomato gone in, the gastrique gone in. I think we'll move over now to the one we made earlier. But before that, I'm just going to take I've already done the prawns here.
Right, OK, talk us through that.
I forgot to put the white wine in there, spilt half the worktop.
Whack it in, darling.
So I kept the prawn heads, all right? And I'm just going to put them in there with a bit of fish stock, in fact, I've got, rather than water.
Lots of flavour.
For lots of flavour. And don't throw away your prawn shells. They're very, very good for flavouring a stock.
Gives you some ballast, gives you some real depth of flavour, right?
Absolutely. Flavour for nothing, you know? It always slightly upsets me when you see people throw things like that away, because, you know, protein, particularly sort of seafood, is so incredibly expensive and valuable. Don't throw anything away. Use everything you can.
Use everything. Right, if you would like to try Rick's recipe, or, of course, any of our studio dishes, then just visit our website, bbc.co.uk/Saturday Kitchen.
Right, over
now,
here
Donna
now.
Estella, I'm dying to know about Donna
Yeah,
Estella.
no, it was just this wonderful restaurant in the Valle de Guadalupe, which is the Guadalupe Valley, which is where they make the best wines. So I've just done this stock now. I'm just going to pour that into my
marvellous.
reduced...
I'm just going to get rid of this because we're going to plate up in a minute.
The prawn stock going in there. And... but it's a bit... They like to say it's Mexico's version of a Napa. It's in Baja, California.
Yeah.
And it's this very good area for growing really good wines. And the best Mexican wines come from there. But this woman just opened a breakfast place. And you've got to drive from the sea, because Baja California's on the Pacific, inland about, I don't know, 3/4 of an hour for breakfast. But for breakfast...
Yeah, you look quite cross about that, actually.
It's just like... I was just thinking, I need my coffee, you know? Sorry. I'm just going to cook these all now.
We're going to start plating up in a minute, yeah.
I was just amazed that so many people went out there.
I know, it was really busy.
Yeah, really busy. And not just with the locals, but, you know, there's a sort of buses of people in because it's so famous.
And she had done something quite extraordinary with that lamb.
Yes, it's called the Borrega. It's like... very slow-cooked lamb, but it's cooked with agave, you know, that they make tequila, but with the leaves, just to keep it all moist.
How much of this do you want in there?
Yeah, just 2 pieces, I think.
Like that. Let's put a big one in a smaller one.
So that's just cooking
And how
for a
long
few
would the
minutes.
stew normally cook
Well,
for,
I would
then?
just give this about, like, once it's boiling, about 2 or 3 minutes.
2 or 3
I cut
minutes,
the
so
fish
is that
up
going to
quite.
go on the bottom to form the base?
That's right.
Was it worth the journey, then?
It was, but more than anything, Donna Estella was... And one of the great things, I think, in the Mexican programme is the people.
Yeah.
They're so friendly and so sort of into what they're doing. She's like a natural cook. You know, when you see people tasting everything all the time and sort of, like, really worried that it turns out well.
Yeah, every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Absolutely.
They go back and make it perfect every single time. The book is absolutely wonderful.
Thank you
very much.
very
What have you
much.
got coming up next, then?
Well, next, I'm going to have a bit of a break, really. I'm going off to Australia for Christmas.
Lovely.
And... my wife's Australian family, they have turkey at Christmas, but they also have ham and they have beef. And I'm not allowed to cook any of that stuff because it's a big family. I'm just doing the veg. But I'm very happy.
Just doing the veg. Is it just... Now, are you making vegetarian food, or are you just doing
I'm doing the
sides?
veg, but I'm going to just, you know, tweak it a little bit, not too much.
Yeah.
But actually, I think the main thing, the thing that I really like at Christmas, are the veg. I just do this dish of carrots, and I take the carrots down until they're sort of caramelised. I put a bit of sugar in there, salt and butter, and tarragon, fresh tarragon.
Beautiful.
And sometimes I put some fresh beans in there, sometimes some fresh broad beans or peas, certainly in
Does it feel
Australia
like
in the
Christmas
summer.
still in Australia?
Well, they all run around in sort of Santa Claus outfits in the stores. I sometimes say to them, but they don't really care for me saying this too much. Ever thought of doing Christmas in July? It might have a better feel to it.
Are you ready for this party?
Yeah, let's pour it on top.
On the top there?
Yeah.
How much do you want? Show me how much you want.
That's beautiful. Thanks,
there we go.
Andi. Yeah.
Just tell us what that is one more time, Rick.
Right, well, this is chiapino, which is a seafood stew of cod, prawns and mussels with a tomato and green pepper.
Smells incredible.
It does,
Thank you
actually.
so much. Marvellous. Thank you so much. Look how beautiful this is, guys. It's quite a nice day today, isn't it?
A bit wild with the chilli.
A little bit wild with the chilli.
Yeah.
Chilli madness.
Why not?
That's all.
It's a bit of Christmas chilli.
Nina.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Let's see what you think about that, Nina. Oh,
Right. Let's try. Oh, my word. I'm going to have to
What are
go
you
for
gonna
a prawn. But of
I would go
course...
prawn, I think.
Ooh.
Get your napkin on.
Well,
Going
yes.
some.
Well, I'm naturally...
And Susie, what have
Messy
you
eater.
chosen to go with this?
OK, so, well, I know we talked about the fact that you've got some Italian influence here and some American influence, but I also felt it was a little bit French in style, the southern French style.
Yeah, definitely.
So I have gone for a southern French wine. It's a Picpoul de Pinet.
love it.
It's the Baron de Guerre Picpoul de Pinet 2016. So this is $6.50 from Sainsbury's, so amazing value. And it's a really typical Picpoul. You know, you've got lovely kind of... The scents are kind of like the wild herbs from down in the south of France. I mean, it's from the south, it's from the Languedoc. And then when you taste it, it's dry and tangy. It's got almost a salty tang, but fruity, because that little bit of chili
That's really
needs
lovely.
balancing.
It's a good one.
And also the sweetness from that reduction, you know, I think you need to be able to match that as well. So the nice fruity
What do you think
sort of
about
white,
that, Ray?
white peach.
I love it.
Absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
I think that's what you call Moorish.
Moorish. Very gluggable, very gluggable.
And Nina, what do you think about that?
Oh my goodness! It just the matchup. You're amazing. The matchup.
So fresh and clean
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
at the beginning, and
Yeah.
then just the warmth at the very end.
it's
It's
just-
just
But I know what you
delightful.
mean,
Just-
Andy, that, you know, not everybody drinks alcohol, but
Not
at this
everybody
time
drinks.
of year, you kind of want to be able to have a really nice drink, whatever. And I think I thought with this, something like an elderflower pressé, where you've got a little bit of fizz, it's not too powerful, because you don't want to overwhelm that gorgeous fish. And just something that's, again, like the wine, quite fruity, but just an easygoing and gentle drink that would sit
Beautiful.
alongside it.
Thank you very much, Susie.
Christmas
Very
Eve,
quick
maybe.
question.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How does one eat mussels in a delicate way?
Well, I mean, the French quite often just sort of eat them out of... They break the two shells in half and then use the empty shell to scoop out the...
The next muscle.
but I just use my fingers.
Yeah. I just put a face on it. Wouldn't worry too much. Now, for a special treat, some of our favourite Saturday Kitchen chefs have sent us their foodie phone messages. Let's see what questions they want answering. Ready, everybody?
Yep.
First up, we've got Gennaro Contaldo, the lovely Gennaro Contaldo.
Merry Christmas to everyone, or Buon Natale. I would like to know what is your bird of choice, or the star ingredients for Christmas Day or Christmas lunch. Would be nice if you let me know. Bless you, and Merry Christmas! Yay!
What is he wearing? That hat's amazing. I love the matching. It's good. It's good when people make an effort, isn't it? We love that. So, what's your star turn
goose.
on the big
Goose.
day? Goose.
Yeah.
Me too, actually.
Really?
For years I've cooked goose.
you know, that's 3 of 3.
No, I'd have goose. Happily.
Really?
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, I'm going to do that as well. Having had that earlier today, me as well.
But what do you normally have, though, Nina?
Turkey.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to bring the tray. Goose is a beautiful bird, you know.
Yeah.
This crisp skin of the goose, of the roast goose.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just perfect. And we have it with prunes, soaked again, maybe some rum, maybe some brandy. Just delicious. And some spinach. Absolutely wonderful. Next up, we have Angela Hartnett.
Happy Christmas, everyone. So, Christmas, loads of vegetables on Christmas Day, and I want some tips. How are you going to make your Brussels sprouts exciting? How are you going to make your roasties the best ever, most crispy? And what about some red cabbage? I need a tip about that as well.
Christmas vegetables, people. What do you think?
I'll tell you what I'm not having. Aubergine.
You never know. By the end of today, we may have converted you. Not likely, though, is it? No.
But I know what Angela means about Brussels sprouts being boring. And if you just blanch them whole and you try and serve them whole and then you come across there with bacon and cream, increasingly
same
so.
6 things.
But, you know, I like to just sort of open them up, completely shred them up, and that's just one way of doing it. And you could just simply toss it with a bit of cumin and garlic and some chili flakes, as you just ate, some dried chili flakes. Just a lot more interesting, a lot more salady, but very quick to cook.
She mentioned red cabbage too, which I always cook slowly with vinegar, apple, sugar. Because it's really good if you've got something fatty like goose to have something a bit sharp.
And that is, red cabbage is brilliant in the sense that you can do it almost
Yes.
like a week before,
Yeah.
can't you? And just warm it up and it tastes even better.
And you know, there's a brilliant Swedish white cabbage like that they cook really, really slow. And they call it brown cabbage because it gets caramelised like you would caramelize onions.
Yeah.
So you cook it long and slow with a little bit of wine, lots of butter, lots of oil, and again, you can keep it in the fridge. Absolutely lovely. And now we've got a question from Michelle Roux Senior. Everybody stand to attention.
Good morning, everyone, at Saturday Kitchen, and Merry Christmas. At Christmas, I cook canard à l'orange. I love that dish, but I would like something a bit more exotic. So, Rick Stein, you might be able to help me. Why don't you give me a recipe a bit more exotic with all your traveling? And if I can cook Rick Stein exotic canard, I will be an happy man. And I'm going to have my Bloody Mary when I'm cooking. Merry Christmas to everyone.
No pressure. So no pressure. And Michelle Roux Senior
Well,
would
thanks,
like to know.
Michelle. Well, that's great. I mean, as it's you, I did do a recipe once. Some Italian chef that was working with us in Padstow, actually, and only because it's Michelle, he boned the whole duck out. Oh. He made a farce, like a stuffing of chopped prosciutto and parmesan. It sounds really much, but it was delicious, really strong. And he just put it in the middle. He rolled the duck back, tied it.
Wow.
We roasted it, and then he served it in slices. It's a really tricky recipe. I've done one for it, but it's lovely. And if you don't want to go through all the business of carving, it's
You
perfect.
can just slice it through. There's a couple of days' work in that, though.
There is, really. That's what I was saying.
That sounds as
more
they say,
Michelle.
long. Yeah. What about you, Vivek? What would you think about that?
You see, if you roasted just the duck breast or the whole duck as well, I love duck with sort of cumin and tamarind and chili. So tamarind, I find, just cuts through the fat and the richness of it. And just, a little bit of the fat that comes out of the rendering of the duck anyway. You just sort of blend it up with the tamarind, and you get a really...
Beautiful thing. And what about wine to go with that?
Well, I mean, it depends on the duck you're doing. I mean, I have to say, I'm a bit in Michelle Rousinia's camp in that I do duck for Christmas, and I stuff it with oranges, and then I would serve it, I'm patriotic, I would serve it with an English Pinot Noir.
Delicious. Thank you so much to all the chefs there. That was wonderful. If that didn't make you feel thoroughly festive, I think this will. It's the Saturday Kitchen Christmas Cake Challenge. Chefs, you will be given 90 seconds to ice Christmas cakes ready for the big day. We've got some icing, we've got some accessories here. You can decorate them however you like. Nina is going to judge the winner. And
I love your programme.
Yeah, back up, Stein. And you brought a few things yourself. There's some really weird things on the table here. You made those, right, Vic?
I did.
Are you both ready? You both ready to go in a sec, yeah?
As ready as
We've got some festive music to get you in the mood. It's my favourite Christmas song. And go. You've got 90 seconds. Make them fancy. I've got a feeling that you're not necessarily pastry chefs, really, are you?
No, I once did a course.
You once did a course. How long ago was that?
About 25 years ago.
Yes. Is it coming back to you now?
Not at all. I was terrible. The worst bit was the actual icing.
The actual icing itself.
Yeah,
Is that why
yeah.
you decided to make leaves earlier?
I did, actually, and I couldn't get a deep enough green, so they
Can
don't...
I just say that Vivek's getting well fancy to your left?
Gosh, look at this!
Don't get intimidated. Focus.
Yeah.
Focus on your... This is like
good.
modern art over there. We've got some sort of Basquiat type
waiting.
Christmas.
We get graffiti in a minute.
You will
What are
get
those little
graffiti in a
bits,
minute.
Rick?
Oh,
So Rick's
these are
doing-
berries, but I just wanted to...
You've got about 30 seconds left, boys. You need to crack on. I like that it's going everywhere now. What is that? Is that brandy? Cinnamon soaking in brandy? It's like, oh my gosh. We've got fire, we've got flame. We've got flame. Is that incense? I thought they were sparklers, Vivek. Oh my word, that's so fancy.
My
You've got
gosh.
20 seconds left. This is very interesting. What does this smell? What is it? What kind of incense is this?
Strupine essence.
It's what?
Strupine.
Gosh, my
Strupine
God!
essence. We need television. You're right, actually. Oh, no. Oh, Rick's got a little bit. Oh, the time is up. The time is up. Look at this. Look at this fanciness. Wow, two different schools.
Oh, my God!
What are you doing? You're too late. You're too late.
Oh, sorry.
Too late. You can't put that on there now. That cannot be counted.
No,
Okay, fine.
that
Cannot be counted. It's quite fancy.
That won't be counted, but this will.
That can count. Nina, you're judging. What do you think? Take us through.
Well, I have to say, I quite like Rick's minimalist approach.
He made those leaves himself, which is
Yeah, I
quite
made them myself.
It's very pretty, I have to say, really pretty, but you cannot only
Really
an
nice,
Indian
that.
would put incense sticks on a Christmas cake, and just for that nonsense, this wins.
This wins yeah, well done. Well done. It is quite, that's a thing for sure. Incense on cakes from now on, yeah?
Yes.
There you go.
So, well done, Vivek. Are you going to go back to savoury now, chaps?
I think so.
I would advise it.
Very quickly.
Should have asked
Very
my wife.
quickly.
She's the cake decorator.
She's the cake. You should have brought her with you. So, will Nina get her food heaven? Tiramisu cheesecake with dark chocolate truffles. I love that you just shout yes every time. Or her food hell? Okra and aubergine caponata with char grilled pork belly. We'll Time to find out whether Nina is getting her food heaven or food hell. Food heaven could be tiramisu cheesecake with dark chocolate truffles, but food hell could be okra and aubergine caponata with char-grilled pork belly. Now, there was no public vote, as you know, today, so Nina, as it's nearly Christmas, your fate rests inside one of these two stockings, so you just have to choose which one feels more okra-y, which one feels more dark chocolatey.
Well,
What do you
dark chocolatey. Well, seeing as I think Vivek won the competition, I'm going to go with Rick.
I feel worried. I'm worried about, you know.
Right, is it this thing here?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
It's a
my
scroll.
word. Oh, here we go.
It's the scroll of life. What's it say? Heaven! I'm so happy for you. I was really worried. And just to prove that there was no fix, there was a hell in there as well. Right. Really thrillingly for you, let's get making cheesecake. Right, let's get rid of all this caponata opera business. And let's get on with the cheesecake. Vivek, if you could start with the custard.
Sure.
And Rick, I'm going to get you to make the base of the cheesecake with the chocolate biscuits.
Yep.
And I'm going to get on with getting these sponge fingers in the espresso and coffee liqueur and spiced rum. How delightful. Now, Nina, the play. Tell me about your amazing play that you're doing.
Oh, yes, yeah, at the Southwark Playhouse.
Nina, you can do a bit of cream whipping, can't you?
Fantastic. Sounds good to me.
Right, so tell us, Southwark Playhouse.
So, yeah, Southwark Playhouse starts 29th Jan till the 17th of Feb. It's called Collective Rage, a play in 5 Bettys.
5 Bettys?
5 Bettys, and I play the butchest Betty of the lot.
Oh, my gosh, how fun.
Oh, my God, look at this.
So it's based in, I read that female drag, and that's not something we think about that often.
No.
Well,
there is an element of that, yes, but, I mean, the thing about this particular play is that it will literally, you will laugh, you will cry, and you will absolutely feel like you've been punched in the gut. It's a fantastic.
Oh,
Susie, yes. I can't actually move it anymore.
Yes,
there we are.
So we're going to put
that's
going to get custard into it, and it's going to get mascarpone, and that's going to form the base of your cheesecake.
Superb.
So 5 furious Bettys.
Yes, yeah, it's 5 very, very different women, and they attempt to put on A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh, one of my favourites. That's very Christmassy, actually.
So who's written this?
So this is by Jen Silverman. She's an American playwright, and they're based in New York, these women. So I'm playing Italian Bronx, which is very different.
Wow. Give us a go at your accent.
Yes, I do have to do an accent. No.
Oh, come on
You'll have to come to the play to see.
How do you do it? I don't know. I can't do it. What's Bronx? Bronx is quite broad.
Just think of a mobster, a mobster's wife.
When does it start?
So 29th of January, it's on. So we start rehearsals on the 2nd of January, which means no New Year's celebrations for me.
You, madam, no, madam.
I won't quite be there.
I mean, you started in theatre more, actually.
Yes, I did.
Goodness gracious
absolutely. I did 7 years worth of theatre before goodness gracious me. I trained with Mark Rylance for a bit, who I think is possibly one of the best actors in the country.
That's really fancy theatre.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because in our play, they do put on theatre. Which is great fun.
And is it lovely to go back to doing some theatre?
It's great to go back to it, because, I mean, I've been in TV land for a very, very long time.
Is that what you call it, TV land?
TV land, I am. It's kind of the same way they've got La La Land for films. I'm in TV land, so it'd be nice to go back to my roots, which is theatre, and I'm so looking forward to that.
I can't actually be talking to you and not talk to you a little bit more about Goodness Gracious Me. Because Goodness Gracious Me is one of my favourite comedies ever. It made me laugh so much. The first
Am I doing all right here, by the way? Sorry to interrupt.
You're doing all right. Yes, so press that into the base. I'm getting sponge fingers into the base. It's wonderful, isn't it? I love that. That's the chocolate biscuits. Obviously, other brands are available. Chocolate biscuits and butter. I mean, how can you go wrong with chocolate biscuits and butter? You can't. That's why it's heaven. So Goodness Gracious, how long ago was Goodness Gracious Me now?
Oh, gosh, going back about 18 years, maybe 18, 19 years. But we did do a couple of specials a couple of years ago, and they're talking about bringing it back. So that would be very exciting.
That would be amazing. Is that custard you've got there for me? It's my favourite sketch. So the first time I was on the motorway, and I heard the Going for an English sketch.
Yes.
Can you explain to us a little bit about what that was?
Well, the Going for an English sketch is based on the fact that when when white friends here go to an Indian restaurant, they have a lot of fun with sort of the Indian staff and the Indian food. So we decided to turn it on its head and do a bunch of Indian people going to this restaurant in Delhi. and they just basically, they don't quite know what to order, so they end up ordering the blandest thing on the menu.
Blandest thing on the menu. I was on the motorway with my friend the first time I heard it.
Yeah, it's
and we had to pull over because we were laughing so much. It was just a brilliant. I mean, what a wonderful thing to be part of. Did it feel like that when you were doing it?
Well, to be honest, I was just happy if Indian people watched it and found it funny. The fact that the whole country embraced the show and just embraced us, it just took it to a different level.
It was absolutely amazing.
We went straight from radio into TV. In fact, that was my first proper real TV job.
Right.
So I was terrified. I've not done TV before.
Was
and
it alarming?
Yeah. Hugely. So I would go in very, very early and sit with the cameramen and lighting and crew and learn about TV.
And the other brilliant characters, of course, are the competitive mums. And,
Yes.
I mean, tell us a little bit about... Because actually, it's quite a while ago now.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, I'm sort of thinking everybody knows Goodness Gracious Me, but there's probably a whole gap of people in the middle.
Actually, you say that, but not, because a lot of mums and dads have shown their kids the show.
Ah.
So, like in the school my kids go to, they all know the show.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is brilliant, but...
Because of modern
Yes,
technology,
yes.
darling, we can watch everything. So tell us a little bit about competitive mums, because I love those characters.
The competitive mums are great. In every culture, I mean, but specifically in Indian culture. Yeah, they are. And, you know, their sons or their daughters are always the best.
I have to say, when we filmed in India a few years ago, the mums were too much. They just were in charge.
Really? Hilarious. I mean, it is a matriarchal culture. Like here, actually, I think that's something that India and the UK have very much in common. You know, it is a matriarchal culture, and so the women run everything behind the scenes. It's all down to them. And that's why we love them.
Right, so Rick, you're on that ganache.
Yeah,
which would become chocolate truffles.
It will,
so that would be poured into this tray here. So into a tray, you'll pour that into a tray, and we'll end up with something like this.
Oh, good. And then we start making some... Have we got a ball?
Are you done with that? Shall we get you ladies on a bit of truffle rolling?
Truffle rolling.
Don't you?
Oh, really? Oh.
There's a lot to do in this recipe, but it's definitely worth it.
Can you teach us how to truffle roll, Vivek?
Right, so in here, we've got chocolate, cream,
cocoa,
sugar, butter, and cocoa, basically. And rum. Of course. Of course. The very special rum. And then we haven't got booze in the custard, but we've got booze in this part here, which is very, very important. And we've got booze on the fingers as well. We've got the rum.
Amazing.
Rum is soaked into the fingers, but it balances really well. It's not overly
Just a little bit of coffee liqueur then?
A little bit of coffee liqueur. We've got espresso, and we've got the rum soaked into those sponge fingers as well. So we get it running right the way through. Right, I'm going to bring this one over now as well. And you're going to start rolling some truffles over there, ladies?
Oh, can I join them?
Why don't you do a little bit of truffle rolling?
You teach us how to do it. Great.
We have a little scoop. This is looking really great.
Do it in our hands?
Do it with your hands. And then you need to roll them. And then after
Don't let them get
this is the kind of stuff you let the kids do at the end. You know what I mean? So how long is the run of your play, Nina? How long is it?
It's only until the 17th of February, and it's already selling out. So please, 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 it'd be a great Christmas present if you have a bunch of girls, you want to go out, have a laugh, and don't be shy to bring the men as well. They'll enjoy it too. There's one particular scene that's a little bit controversial, which I don't know how they're going to stage it.
An all-female cast?
It's an all-female cast. It's 5 women called Betty.
5 women called Betty. That's quite unusual, isn't it? To get female cast
It is, but I think it's about time that women kind of get to be at the forefront of a few more things.
What do you reckon? Does it feel good? Absolutely.
Can we have a bit more information about the controversial nature of it?
Again, you got to go and
Right.
See how I hook you in?
OK, I'm going to get this onto the... I'm going to leave this onto that thing because I don't want it to fall apart.
There's nothing more satisfying
I'm going to bring this across here.
No.
My truffles are a little bit bigger than anyone else.
Funny that. You know what? It's your food heaven and it's Christmas. Do whatever you like. Right, I'm just going to
make a really giant
now. And we're going to get some...
Isn't there a big urge to pop one in the mouth, though?
There is.
Cocoa onto the top. Right, here we go.
Look at that.
Wow.
A tiramisu cheesecake.
Oh,
my word.
It's making us happy already, and we haven't even eaten any of it yet. Now, and I think we'll dress some of these truffles around the edge.
Really?
And,
you mean the edge of my mouth?
The edge. Let's just pull these around. like this. Make it beautiful.
Amazing.
I think they've
Make
got
it
enough.
lovely. I think
Yeah,
we've got
you've got-
enough.
Anyway.
So, Nina, you've got still open all hours.
Yes.
When is that? On Boxing
That's
Day?
on Boxing Day, and then
Become a
come
new
the new
tradition.
year. Yes, it has. It really
Become a new
has.
tradition. That's absolutely lovely.
So I hope everyone tunes in for that. It's a lovely thing to do on Boxing Day, actually, to get together and watch
It's
that.
perfect, isn't it?
It's a very special show.
There we go. Right.
Wow.
Oh, you're going to take that for me, Vivek? Thank you very much.
That looks
And here we have your lovely heaven.
Amazing.
Lucky you. Tiramisu cheesecake with rum-infused dark chocolate truffles.
Yes.
Delicious. Susie, what wine have you got for us to go
Well,
with this
I've kind of stuck with the Italian theme and the tiramisu, and I've gone for an Italian dessert wine, which is a Vinsanto from Tuscany. So it's made
Vinsanto,
from dried Trebbiano grapes, and it's a really lovely kind of sultanery, biscuity. It's the Santa Cristina Vinsanto, and it's from 2010, and it's just beautiful. And what's nice about it actually is as well that you could have this at Christmas with your Christmas pudding, with your cheese. So it's kind of very
Oh, it's a beautiful
versatile.
colour, Susie.
It's kind of fun, isn't it?
I've got that right. Yes.
Sorry, could you make it a bigger slice for me?
I think you'll cope. I think you'll cope. Do we need a second or third plate?
Thank you.
Here you go, Nina. For you first, my darling.
Oh, let's
Please
do
taste
this.
that.
No, let's go.
Rick's already got a spoon and going in there.
Rick, come on.
go.
Here
I've
we
got some on
go.
my thumb. Absolutely delicious. Tell us what you think about
together.
that. What do you think about that? Yes. Oh, delicious.
It looks
Is that heaven? Actual heaven.
Oh,
Actual heaven.
100%. There is a takeaway box, right?
There is a
Just
takeaway
checking.
box, so you might need a bigger than a normal box, I think. And how about with the wine? A nice
Oh,
match?
stunning with the wine. Well
Beautiful.
done.
Thank you so much, guys. Well, that is all from us today on a very Christmassy Saturday Kitchen. Thanks to all of our studio guests, Rick, Vivek, Susie and Nina. All the recipes from the show are on the website, of course, bbc.co.uk/Saturday Kitchen. And don't forget, Best Bites tomorrow with our Matt on BBC Two. Have a fabulous festive feast, whatever you decide to cook. From all of us here at Saturday Kitchen, have a very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh, look, it's snowing.
Keep